Shalom. Welcome to Tov Jewish News Channel. And with us today is Yoni Ben Menachem. But before that, let's watch a small teaser from our new series on Hamas. Hamas in your backyard.
The crusades of the thousands of years ago are depicted as a Western invasion of the Middle East in order to destroy Islam. The same thing is Israel. Both Christianity and Judaism conspired in order to defeat Islam by creating something like resurrection. And this is what boggles the mind.
The series is already available, Chapter 1, Episode 1, on our various channels. Shalom to Yoni Ben Menachem, an expert in Middle East affairs. Welcome back.
How are you? Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
It's really concerning that with so much public support behind the government to continue the fighting. I mean, none of us have ever seen anything quite like this before. I mean, everybody seems to understand, except some, leftist Amira Haas, Haaretz people.
You're right.
Everybody seems to understand the importance of finishing off Hamas completely. And at the same time, if possible, as much as possible, rather, to dilute the population of Gaza, to make sure that very few people are left there. Because, we heard from Qatar, we heard from the Prime Minister, I believe, of Qatar, that there's no separation between Hamas and the population. I mean, Qatar itself said so, right? Yesterday
and
or today.
There's also no separation between Hamas and Qatar. Qatar, this is another stupid move of the Israeli government, that they agreed that Qatar will be the mediator between Israel and Hamas. Israel could have said, no, we want Egypt. But I don't know, for some reason they accepted the Qatar mediation. Qatar is the biggest supporter of the Muslim Brotherhood movement and of Hamas. And they are the ones who supplied Hamas with money, more than $1 billion. And this money was transferred to Gaza by the authorization of Israel. This is the biggest mistake of Israel. And they built, thanks to the Qatarian money, they built this underground tunnel web, the biggest enormous tunnel web. I don't think there is any tunnel web like that in the whole world. 500 kilometers long, very protected underground, up to 70, 80 meters under the ground, where they're hiding, where they are manufacturing the rockets and drones, and where they are also keeping the Israelis hostages. So Qatar cannot be a mediator, and I think that Israel should get rid of it as soon as possible and demand that Egypt will be the mediator. We cannot go on with Qatar. Actually, when we're talking to Qatar, they are representing the Hamas interests. They are not an honest broker, an honest mediator that can mediate between the two sides.
And of course, they also fund Al Jazeera, which is the mouthpiece of Hamas.
Yeah, they found Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera actually is broadcasting from Doha, the capital of Qatar, and it's full of incitement against Israel. And if you open, all the websites of Hamas, you see that there is a link to Al Jazeera to hear the live broadcast. So what does it indicate? Yeah, so this is obvious.
So, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I'm not an expert in Middle Eastern affairs. I'm not a military expert. And I think everyone watching understands what you've just said. Why doesn't the government understand that? Why didn't we say to Sinwar, you have 24 hours to bring the hostages to the Rafah crossing. Otherwise, it's doomsday. We could do that.
Yeah, I'm not, it's a good idea maybe, but I don't think it's practical, because it doesn't work like that in the Middle East. And I
Isn't that
personally
exactly
prefer...
how it works in the Middle East?
No, what works in the Middle East is, in my opinion, is that the principle is that if you want to shoot, shoot, don't talk. And this is what we should have done. This is what we should have done. And this is why I'm
We should
saying...
have kept shooting.
Exactly. And this is the big mistake, but it's not too late yet because we can still save the future by resuming the fire as soon as possible. And I hope that the government or the cabinet or war cabinet will take this decision. I get a lot of phone calls. I have to tell you, every day people call me and ask me, friends, and even when I meet people on the street, they ask me, you know Prime Minister Netanyahu very well. You know all the cabinet ministers. You know all of them. What happened to Israel? Why are they behaving like that? Why did they stop the fire? Please tell them to renew the fire. This is a mistake. So even people on the street in the Israeli society, they understand that this is a big mistake. And everybody's asking what is happening. So I can tell you that there's a lot of resentment, a lot of anger among the people that I meet in the Israeli society, and I meet a lot of them. And I tell you one thing, this government will not survive the war if they continue on this path. They have to know that. The public is angry. They want revenge. They want back the national pride. They want the hostages back. And the government cannot go on in this path. This is a wrong way. The fire has to be resumed immediately.
On that note, thank you very much, Yoni Ben Menachem. And I think that everybody watching agrees with you. And let's just hope that somebody upstairs is also listening and understands that point too. And thank you to our viewers. I'd like to remind everyone to subscribe and like all our channels, Telegram, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and so on. Shalom.
The crusades of the 1,000 years ago are depicted as a Western invasion of the Middle East in order to destroy Islam. The same thing is Israel. Both Christianity and Judaism conspired in order to defeat Islam by creating something like resurrection. And this is what bogs the mind.